Hello, all you real estate investors, buyers, and sellers, and all people interested in what's happening in our real estate market out there. My name is John DeFreitas. I'm a real estate professional at Sutton Group Summit Realty, and I'm bringing you your monthly market update for this past month of January. So let's talk first about what's happening on a national scale here in the real estate market in our country. So January this year versus a year ago is very, very different. We're seeing sales up about 30%. That's a significant uptick from what we saw a year ago. Now, keep in mind, it's down from what we traditionally have seen in the last few years. But nonetheless, this uptick certainly is being driven by the fact that interest rates are starting to stabilize. Clearly, you'll find that across all major cities in Canada, real estate prices are up slightly, with the exception of Toronto in certain pockets. Certainly not the case. Let's talk a little bit now about what's happening on the economic front that's really helping to contribute to some of these real estate impacts and market changes. So first and foremost, what you're finding right now is that the hold of interest rates over the past two cycles has firmly set stability back on the side of buyers. They feel much more comfortable about making a transaction happen currently right now. So you're seeing that flurry of activity because of the fact that the interest rates are being suppressed. And what we could expect is if inflation continues on a downward trend, we expect this trend on activity to pick up, specifically once the first cut takes place. Now, when that first interest rate cut does take place, really will depend on the actual inflationary rate. If we see any sort of unpredicted uptick in inflation, you can bet that that period of cutting will certainly be delayed. So that's on the economic front. Now let's dive into exactly what's happening on the local front. So first, let's start off with Toronto, because Toronto certainly is the hub, and it definitely dictates quite often what happens in the rest of the GTA. So overall, I'll just start by saying all major cities in around the GTA are up approximately 3% in terms of average sale price year over year for the month of January. Now in Toronto specifically, one thing to call out is that condo apartments are down 23% year over year. That is a significant number. Now, we know that condos were having a difficult time there just generally, but 23% is huge. If you are thinking about getting into the condo market in the city, do it right now. This is the time to get into that condo market for you. Now, when we look at the other segments within downtown Toronto, detached is up 6%, semis 4%, towns up 2%. Now let's move to Mississauga. The big call out of Mississauga is that detached homes year over year are up 16%, a significant number. In Mississauga, you'll see semis up 4%, towns up 3%, and condo apartments down slightly, about 3% as well. Now, Oakville. What do we see in Oakville? We're seeing that detached homes are up 12% in Oakville, but semis and towns are down 2%. But we're also seeing a 15% increase in condos in the Oakville area. So Oakville continues to be a strong place if you're looking to get into the larger detached homes. So those more affluent, higher priced real estate buyers are still transacting in the Oakville area. Moving over to Milton, call out in Milton is that you're seeing semis up 12%, you're seeing detached down 3% and towns down 4%, condos down 6%. And then in Burlington, the highlight in Burlington is semis are up 11% as well. Condos are generally flat. And then finally in Vaughan, you're seeing pretty much across the board in Vaughan, detached semis and towns flat year over year. Condos are up 6%. So the big story here, generally speaking, is that I would say lower price point residential units are trending upward because, hey, let's face it, anything over $1 million, you're looking at a $200,000 down payment. This is a significant number given how difficult economy has been and saving has been. So it's no surprise that you're seeing some of those price points that are under $1 million, like semis, like towns, seemingly skyrocketing jump up in terms of general price. Now, let's talk briefly about all of you and how this market will be impacting you specifically. So I'll start off by saying if you're both a buyer and seller in this market, it's really irrelevant. And I've said that many, many times before. You're gaining on one end and you're potentially losing on the other, depending which way the market's going. So it's not really a big deal. Where it does matter is if potentially you're a buyer and seller and you're looking to downsize. Beyond that, let's get into the details for a buyer. So if you're a buyer in this market, absolutely, this is one of those periods in time that people will look back, I believe firmly, and say, that's when I should have bought. Down approximately 10% on average, but you can see based on the numbers, significantly down in some pockets, in some housing types, where this is an opportunity to really get into the market at a good price. Obviously, if you can ensure that you can sustain the monthly mortgage rates, given that they are higher, but if you're getting into the market and you can bear through it for a period of time, all indications are that interest rates should be less of a strain in the next 24 months for sure. So that's for buyers. For sellers, my recommendation is if you are looking to just divest, you probably want to wait a little bit. I think that once you get into the peak of the spring market and then even subsequently through the summer potentially and into the fall is where you're going to see your highest returns in this year to really try and make a maximum profit on your sales. So that's my take on what's happening in the real estate market, specifically for buyers and sellers. And that's my take on what's happening in the real estate market for January 2024. I hope you found that valuable and interesting. And if you're looking for more real estate information, advice, or economic related impacts to what's happening in your world when it comes to your property, love to connect with you. Reach out and give me a call. Everyone, again, I'm John DeFreitas with Sutton Group, bringing you the January report. See you next month at the same time. Take care, everyone. Bye.